Hey there YouTube, Pixar Prime 10 here, and whoo boy, I bet you guys are excited. It's been a little bit, and I know I've kept you guys waiting, and I can't apologize enough for that. But instead of wasting time explaining why I haven't been here, what do you say we take a look at a HESS truck? Now, let me just explain why I am reviewing this guy right now. Obviously, it's because I know you guys want to see a review of it, but I gotta be honest, I really felt as though I owe it to you guys to review this truck. One of my favorite parts about doing YouTube across all these years is you guys, my fans. And I never thought I'd actually have fans, but hey, here we are. And if it wasn't for you guys, I would not have known that this truck was coming out. Basically what I mean by that is around the time, about a day before this truck went on sale, I got a bunch of comments from you guys saying, are you gonna get this truck? And quite honestly, I thought you guys were talking about the 2018 actual truck, and I didn't think it had been announced yet, and I was right, it hadn't. So I had went on the HESS Truck website to see this beauty there, the 2018 Collector's Edition first HESS truck, and I read about what it was, and I said, that's super duper cool. I would really like to have that. So I bought it, and within about a few hours of me buying the truck, about a day later I checked, and it was sold out, because I had considered buying another one for a friend, but to no avail because it was sold out already. It sold out in less than 24 hours, and if you guys had not told me that the truck was coming out, I would not have known, I would not have gotten it, and I wouldn't have it. And for that, I cannot thank you guys enough, and that is why I owe it to you guys to bring you this review. And I've been wanting to do it since I got the truck, but I just haven't had the time, which is why I'm finally sitting down right now to get this recorded for you guys. So, what exactly is this truck? This is basically a truck celebrating the 85th anniversary of not the beginning of the HESS trucks, however, the beginning of the Hess Corporation. This truck is actually a replica of the truck that Leon Hess, the company's founder, drove back in 1933 when he began to deliver gasoline. Now, we have actually seen this truck before. We have actually seen it twice before, once in 1982 and 1983 when they released another version of the truck just like this to commemorate the same thing, and which it was called the first HESS truck, not the first Hess Toy Truck, but the first HESS truck ever made in real life. And we saw it again in 1985 when they released the first HESS truck bank, which was the same one from 82 and 83, but made into a bank. And we're going to be looking at those later. So I'm actually going to read a little description that Hess has on their website about this truck. Hess Corporation honors the 85th anniversary of our company's humble beginning with the 2018 Collector's Edition First HESS Truck, a special edition replica of the original second-hand fuel oil delivery truck used in 1933 by young, hard-working entrepreneur Leon Hess to start what is now a global energy company. But yeah, I was really excited to get this truck because I love anything collector-ish, and that's what this is. It's a collector's truck. Even though we've seen it before, I'm really happy to have a new version of it. And as you can see, the box is extremely plain. I think you guys have heard me talk about, I'm not even sure if I've mentioned it in recent reviews that I posted years ago, so they're not that recent. I'm actually not a fan of the new boxes of the HESS trucks. I don't really like how it's just the truck on a plain white background. This one, I think it's okay. I love how it calls back to what the HESS truck boxes used to look like, but the boxes with the gas station and the Star Nights, I really loved. They really reminded me of my childhood and getting those trucks as a child. And we don't really see those that much anymore. In fact, we don't see them at all. This one I'm okay with it for, though, because it's kind of a special case. So clearly on the front of the box here, you can see that we have a very nice picture of the truck there. It's not actually a picture of the truck, rather just kind of a cartoon-like illustration of the truck, as you can see on the side there. On the top of the box here, we have a really nice bold Hess logo, and it says 1933 to 2018, obviously commemorating the 85 years, which I really like. On the back of the box, just like classic Hess tradition, you can see the back of the truck, and obviously on the front of the box, you can see the front of the truck. Now, this is a versatile display box, similar to the 50th anniversary truck that came out in 2014. There's a little flap here that you can just pick up, and then it reveals the truck inside. Now, there's nowhere to actually put this little flap thing without bending it, and I don't want to bend it because I want to keep it like a normal box, so I won't be doing anything with that. And without trying to spoil the truck too much, as you can see on the inside here, we have two Hess logos, and it says celebrating 85 years, and obviously you have the truck really nicely displayed in there with a cool background in there, which we're going to look at in a second once I get this guy out of the box. And speaking of which, why don't we do that now? So when you get it out of the box, this is actually the insert that it was in inside of that display box. You have a big Hess logo on the back, and on the front here, you can actually see an old picture of a fleet of Hess trucks lined up, which is super duper cool. You get a really good feeling the way a Hess oil depot might have looked back in the day, which is super cool. You can see all the trucks here, and even that guy right there, which is the truck that we're about to look at in a second. And on the sides, you can see there's a Hess logo and a Hess logo. So let's get this guy out of the way and look at the main attraction. Alrighty guys, and here it is. The 2018 Collector's Edition first Hess truck. And I gotta tell you guys, I love this thing. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much because quite frankly, I've seen it twice before and I have 2 other versions of it. But one thing that I also really like is when companies or whatever go back and take original versions of something and give them a really cool update. And in this instance, it's not really a modernized truck so much as it is the same truck, but with a lot of really cool updates. So since we have seen this truck twice before, there's really no point in talking about the truck itself because we've kind of, in fact, I've reviewed this once before in the review of the 1982 and 1985 trucks. So because we've looked at those before, I want to look at them again. So in the middle, we have the 2018 Collector's Edition truck. On the left, we have the 1982-1983 first Hess truck. On the right, we have the 1985 first Hess truck bank. So instead of delving in with this guy, I kind of wanted to put him side by side with his 2 predecessors and talk about what's different between the 3 trucks, or basically between this guy and then these 2. So to start off, we'll talk about the differences that, well, you can pretty much plainly see. It's pretty much the same exact truck, but it's just been given a really nice pretty update. On the front of the truck, you can see a few differences already. On the front here, this guy has a really cool 3D Hess logo on the grill, kind of like the modern Hess trucks that these guys do not. That is a really cool update that I appreciate, as well as an H right here on the grill of the truck, kind of like a Hess emblem that is actually part of the grill, and I absolutely love that. It's a simple change, but I think it just makes it all the better. As you can see, these guys have 2 kind of really flat-looking grills, and even though the original trucks might not have had that, that is just something in terms of the legacy of Hess that is really cool to have on the grill. And this guy also has a little hood ornament that just adds a little bit more that these 2 don't. Moving on, one thing that you can see is that these 2 guys have a license plate. This guy does not. I actually don't mind that at all because in terms of being real life accurate, this is more accurate to have that license plate, but Hess trucks aren't really known to have that, so I'm kind of okay with it. As well as the front bumper here has these 3 silver rivets painted and these 2 do not, which is already a great step up. On the front here, you can see that this guy and this guy have plastic turn signal lights here, and this guy does as well. However, they're a little bit different in that this guy actually has them light up and these 2 do not. So again, because of the advancements in toy technology as well, we're also going to see a lot more lights on this guy. So I can't really have all 3 here and give you a side comparison, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out 1985 and we're going to look at these 2 by themselves. So, as I have the trucks stacked on top of each other like this, one thing that you can definitely tell, or you guys might not actually be able to tell, but I definitely can, is that the new guy is actually a little bit bigger than the old 2. He's wider and he's taller, which is totally cool. It makes sense because he's going to be more in scale with modern Hess trucks and, you know, higher new age calls for higher quality. So on the side, you're not going to find as many differences, but they're absolutely still there. Here you can see the difference in the turn signal lights as I was talking about before. Here you can see there's actually been some changes made to the tanker. On the original, you had a kind of normal looking Hess logo there, and then it said gasoline, so Hess gasoline. On the new guy, you actually have the kind of a similar Hess logo, just more updated, and then the actual Hess logo there on the back. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I appreciate that they gave it a more modern look to match the new Hess trucks, but I always loved the old trucks that said Hess gasoline. I thought that looked so cool, so I kind of wish they would have kept that as a throwback. One thing that you can see here versus here is that on the new guy on the bottom, the Hess logo looks a little bit different. That is because this one is actually able to light up and this one is not. One change that is absolutely welcome is that these tires have much bigger Hess logos than the one in the past. You might not even be able to see them. It's really small there, and there, and there. They're so tiny you can barely make them out, but this guy has nice big 4 Hess logos while this one only had 2, and they are much easier to make out, and I really appreciate that change. As you can see, they both have this weird windshield thing where it sticks out. Here you can see that these 2 red lights on this guy are actually painted, whereas this one has clear ones like here and like the old one had on the back, because this one actually has lights in them now. Flipping around to the other side, another change that you can see is that this guy had a hose. So I'm not going to pull it out because I don't really want to have to coil it back up, but this guy, as well as the 1985 truck, which you can see right here, both had coilable hoses. This one, I don't really like taking them out because they're a pain to get coiled back up, as you can see. I never really got that one to look right. This one from 1985 and this one from 1982 both have hoses that you are actually able to pull out, which is super duper cool. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have it. And to be totally honest with you, I don't know why this one doesn't have a hose that comes out. What's really strange about it is it has a little cutout here in which the hose actually goes down inside of, which is cool and all, but I don't really understand it. And this looks like it's supposed to move. It looks like it's on an axle. And when I first got the truck, I tried really hard to get the hose out, but it wouldn't go anywhere, and I didn't want to break it, so I stopped trying to get that out. Speaking of things that look like they should do something but don't, that's always something I haven't liked. And if you look on the back of the truck, this door totally has a cutout here. It has the two hinges that where a pin would go through, and it looks like you should just be able to take this and open it and open the door. But I've tried really, really hard to get that to open, and I've begun to put a little bit of plastic stress on this little part right here. So clearly, I'm afraid that if I pull any harder on that, it's going to break. So I don't think this is meant to open, especially because I would imagine there's all wiring and stuff inside here. But the reason I thought that was meant to open is because, obviously, if you guys remember, on the top of the 1985 truck, you had this little door that if you turn that, it opened, and this was a bank. So this guy just latched open, and you could put your coins in there, and that's where you could store that, if you remember from that review. So I figured maybe this guy had a similar function. And to be totally honest, I'm really kind of upset that this guy doesn't have the same bank function as the 1985 truck. It kind of just seems like so much sense, but if we want to get technical about it, this is kind of a recreation of a real-life truck, and I guess a real-life truck wouldn't have been a bank, as well as the fact that we can say this is a recreation of the 1982 truck, which, if you look on top, didn't have a bank. This was just a truck. Now, if we look at the back of both of the trucks here, and by both, I mean, here we have the 2018 truck, and here is the 1982-83 truck. And you can also totally see what I'm talking about in terms of the size difference. This guy is much taller and much wider. So there's not too many differences to talk about in the back of the truck, but there is one huge one that you guys probably already can see that I absolutely love. But just to keep going with pointing things out, as you can see, the back of the trucks look really, really similar. This one didn't have a deceiving door that looked like it should open like this one does. But as you can see, this one has really nice, crisp white paint, whereas this one has yellow a little bit. Not a fault of the toy, it's just a fault of time, really. On the back here, you can also see that we have those silver rivets painted, opposed to this one that didn't have them painted, just like in the front, which is, of course, really, really nice to see. This one has a little bit of extra molding around the taillights, which I really like. Any attention to detail is always appreciated. But the biggest change on the back of the truck that I absolutely love is this part right here. I don't know why, but one of my favorite parts of the Hess trucks, as long as I've been collecting them, has always been the license plates in the back that say the year. And I really, just really love how this one, almost as if it's an Easter egg, says Hess 1933. It doesn't say Hess 2018, the year the truck came out, like every other truck does. It says Hess 1933, which is, of course, the year that this truck was actually in use, which I just think is so incredibly cool, and I love that that's there. It's a absolutely wonderful change that, just like the H on the grill in the front of the truck, just makes it so much better. Another change is that if you look at the mirrors here and the mirrors here, these ones are actually all chrome. That is just, you know, kind of keeping a tradition with the more modern Hess trucks. These would be all chrome on a modern Hess truck, whereas this one was just plastic and had a little sticker there to make it look like a mirror. But being all chrome is totally a welcome change to me. Something else that I really love, which is kind of just another attention to detail, something that didn't need to be done, but totally makes the truck, something that I would argue should have been done on the truck back when it came out, is that these things up top here, the little gas rotator, pipe openers, I don't know what they are actually chrome now. And I mentioned before that I wish this one was a bank, even though it's not, but what's really strange about this is these all rotate, and I couldn't really tell you why. They go a full 360 degrees, and I don't really know why they rotate, so if you wanted to, you could even have them that way to distinguish them a little bit from the older trucks. I mean, it's not a problem that they rotate, it just doesn't do anything, so I kind of find it very strange. And nowhere online or in any instructions could I find anything that has to do with why these rotate. So, something that I'm sure you guys are dying to see is the lights and sound on this guy. So, if we come to the bottom of the truck here, there's even more really cool attention to detail. You can see a bunch of the underworkings of the truck, such as, I don't know, mufflers and pipes and stuff like that. And of course, you have the rubber tires here, which all spin very nicely. And you even have wood beams that are going across the truck, because obviously an older truck would have been made with parts that were wood. And I personally think that that is such cool attention to detail. But as you can see, there's a switch right here, and just like all Hess trucks, we have flashers and on. So if we flip to the on position, we're going to get the lights coming on. And as you can see, there's some undercarriage lights, which I have expressed in the past, I think are so absolutely cool. When you turn the lights on, you get all of the lights coming on. And the old trucks such as this guy right here. And on the older trucks, when you turned it on, the only things that came on were the headlights and the taillights, and the battery I have in here is really old, so you can barely see them coming on, and they're flickering because the battery is about to die, but you can also ever so slightly make out the lights there. On this guy, you have those lights plus more. You have the headlights here, which are nice bright LED lights. We'll talk about those in a second. And you have the Hess logo on the front here lighting up, which is so cool. The turn signal lights light up now. You have the red lights on the side and the front here that are also lighting up. On the side, which you'll be able to see more in a second when I turn off my lights, you can see the two Hess logos lighting up. On the back, you have the taillights and then the Hess 1933 light lighting up. And then, of course, like I said, the undercarriage lights. But you can't really get a full appreciation for the lights when my lights are on, so what do you say we take a look at this guy in the dark? So just by turning off my review lights here, you're actually able to see which lights are coming on the truck. So like I said, you have these underlights here, which I just think are so totally cool. I love it when they put those on any Hess trucks just because, I don't know, I think they look cool. Now, I actually do have a slight complaint with the lights that are on this truck, and if I'm being honest, oh, and I also forgot to mention, there's an interior light, if you can see it in there, that lights up the seats. Now, the one problem that I have with this truck is the headlights, and it's only because it's not really realistic. If I bring in this guy from 1985, as you can see, the lights are old and they're yellow, and this guy has nice, bright, blue, cool headlights. What I don't like about that is these are the kind of headlights you find in modern day cars that have been made in the recent years. But this guy has headlights that reflect what car headlights looked like in the past on older cars. They were made with actual incandescent bulbs, which gives off this yellowy orange warmth light. And that is the kind of headlights that definitely would have been in a truck from 1933. So when you put the LED cool headlights in there, for me, it kind of ruins an illusion that this truck is supposed to be from 1933. But that being said, I think it does give a really nice mixture of a modern day car mixed with this old 1933 style, which I can appreciate. And while that's just a little nitpick on this truck, there is so much that I love about these lights. First of all, they're really bright. Even if you can't tell it through the camera, they are really bright. I've always expressed how I don't like the box that kind of just appears around the Hess logo. I would like it if it was kind of a faded circle of light, but that's okay. I'm not going to judge it too harshly. You have the Hess logo on the door, the Hess logo on the back there, and of course the Hess 1933 license plate that lights up there. And as you can see, all of the underlights, which I just can't express enough how much I love. And they didn't need to make these red lights light up on the side here, but the fact that they did kind of just adds to it. Now, that is not all that this truck has to offer in terms of its lights and sounds. Obviously, like I said on the bottom here, if we switch this switch to flashers, you're going to get the lights flashing. And I've always expressed how I like this because it's kind of like a car alarm going off. But if we go ahead and turn that guy off, unlike the original two trucks, there are 4 buttons up here. And this is what I would have been expecting of an updated truck like this, for it to have the functions of a modern day Hess toy truck. So if we press the first button all the way on the left of the truck, obviously the flashers will go off and we get an engine starting and idling sound. And I gotta tell you, I absolutely love it because it would have been really unfortunate if they had put a sound in this truck that sounded like a modern day engine starting up. You can very plainly tell that that is the sound of a 1933 engine turning on and kind of struggling to stay on. If you hit the next button, you get the effect of the truck driving away and the engine sputtering and the muffler spitting out smoke, and it really just sells the fact that this is an old truck. And again, that's kind of why I wish that the headlights weren't as modern as they were. And for the last button, you get the horn going off, which is really, really cool. It's almost as if the alarm's going off. I don't think they had alarms back then, but you get the flashers, and it's just a really nice old-timey sounding horn. And unlike some more modern Hess trucks, this one has something that I really like. The last button, usually you press it and the flashers will go on for a short time. I personally always found that useless because if I wanted the flashers on, I would just throw them on. And usually if I'm going to have something on for a short time, it's going to be a sound effect. But with this truck, if you press this button, the headlights will turn on. And after a while, the lights will turn off. So if you kind of just for some odd reason would like to have the lights on for just a short bit, you can hit that button, and if you need them to go back off, you can hit them off. So it's, oh geez, whoops. So it's almost like a second on and off switch, and I gotta tell you, I really like that. One other thing that I like about this truck a lot is that, I guess compared to more modern day Hess trucks, I think it feels really, really sturdy. That's not to say that the modern day Hess trucks don't feel sturdy and aren't well made. I've just kind of, as time has gone on, gotten just a little bit of a more I want to say lighter feeling, but this guy is heavy, he's bulky, and with those big rubber tires, he's not going anywhere, and I just love the solid feel of this truck. One thing that this truck doesn't have that I always complain about, but I've gotten more okay with it, is it has no AC adapter port. I would really love to put this and the 50th edition truck on a shelf together. Well, they are on a shelf together, but I would like to put them on a shelf together where I can plug them in and I can just leave the lights on all the time. That would be super duper cool, but they're toys for kids. I don't really think they're thinking about that too much. So really, there's not that much left to say about this truck. It really is the same truck that we've gotten 2 more times before, but with a really nice 2018 quality update. Sure, there's 1, maybe 2 things about this truck that bother me, but all in all, it is such a cool return to form. If this was the only truck we got this year, maybe I'd be a little bit disappointed since we've seen it 2 other times before. Technically 3 since this guy came out 2 years in a row. But this was just something Hess did for its fans, for us collectors who collect these trucks. In terms of the nostalgia of these 2 trucks on the left and the right, and just how iconic they are in terms of the Hess trucks, I absolutely love this thing. It was a little pricey, but in today's times, everything is going up in price. I remember when the Hess trucks were $21, and I think they're now retailing for about $31, maybe $35, but this was well worth the purchase. I want to say that I highly recommend this truck, but in actuality, you guys probably can't get it. If you have it, good for you, but it's sold out, and unless someone is selling it online for an incredibly high price, I don't think you're going to get your hands on it. So I do highly recommend it, but it's all a matter of whether or not you're going to be able to find it. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this, and I really hope you enjoyed it because I wanted to give you guys something. You gave me this truck pretty much, so I wanted to return the favor. To all of you who send me countless comments and tweets asking for more Hess truck videos, even though it makes me feel really bad because I'm not giving you guys the videos you want, it makes me feel really good when I'm able to get this out because I know you guys are going to appreciate it. I will see you soon, and do not forget to have yourselves a great day.